live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening, bringing you the news from Sri Lanka and across the world. It's your national news broadcast on Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. My name is Siobhan Pereira.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Sharifa Tahir. Let's take a look at the headlines.
Last respects paid to the departed prison officers at Valikada prison. United Nations Organization condoles the incident at Negombo prison. Steps to construct a new prison at Mahamodara call. Colombo High Court announces death penalty for 8 persons. Special attention from the 2027 budget to find permanent solutions to the drinking water issue. The number of dengue patients exceeds 63,000. 42 deaths reported. Grace period given to fix seat belts in vehicles plying on expressways extended until 19th of September. A series of heavy airstrikes from the US to Iran.
We move on to those and other stories in detail now. Bodies of the 7 prison officials who died during the Negombo prison clash were taken to the Valikada prison today to pay their last respects.
Another officer who was under treatment in the intensive care unit of the National Hospital with injuries during the clash died today. Mortal remains of the prison officers were kept at the Center for Research and Training in Corrections at the Valikada prison. The bodies were kept there with the salute of prison officials. Prison officials as well as relatives of the deceased officials also paid their respects. Minister Attorney at Law Harshan Nanayakara visited the Valikada prison today to pay his respects. Prison officers on this occasion requested the minister to hold a fair investigation in this regard, and the minister affirmed the holding of a fair investigation to the incident.
ඒකට අපිට අපිත් එක්ක වත්කාපු අපේ කොල්ලෝ ටික උදේ කැන්ටි මේ අපිත් එක්ක එකට කෑවේ සර් නවස කන්නෝ ගිටියේ නෑ සර් ඔක්කොටම ගෑවු ඔළුවට අපි සර් මේ නිලයට මැදගත්තේ සර් අපි වෙනම එකකයක් විදියට සර් මේ පිට යන්නේ මොනවද සර්
උපරිම සාධාරණීය කරනවා අපි ඉක්තර පන්තියක එළියට ආවනම් සර් ඉවරයි මුළු නිලධාරී තරක් නෙමෙයි ජනතාවත් ඉවරයි සර් ඒ නිලධාරියා නිසා තමයි සර් ඒ ජනතාව එතන හිටපු තේරම් බේරුනේ වෙබන් පහරකට ලෑලි දොර කඩාගෙන ආවනම් සර් මේ කිසි දෙයක් ගන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ කිසිදු අසාධාරණයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ ඕගොල්ලන්ව කරන්න පුළුවන් උපරිම training protocol අලුතෙන් හිතන්න වෙනවා නිලධාරී ආරක්ෂාව අලුතෙන් හිතන්න වෙනවා ඒ නිසා ඒ මාස ගණන් අවුරුදු ගණන් යන්නේ නැහැ කියලා මිස්ටර් ඔබතුමා අපි නිලධාරී හැමෝම වෙනුවෙන් අපි කතා කරන්නේ ඔබතුමාට ගරු කරනවා අපේ ප්‍රසාද් සර් ගරු කරනවා
The bodies kept at the Valikada prison premises were taken to the residences of theirs after handing them over to the relatives.
ඊට පස්සේ උදේ කියත්ත ෆෝන් එක ඉස්සුවේ නෑ. ඒක මම නෝනා ඉඳලා කිව්වා අපේ මට දැන් උදේ කතා කළා. මං ඒක කිව්වා මට කෝල් එකක් ගන්න කියලා යාට. කෝල් එකක් තාම අනේ මට කෝල් එකක් තාම දුන්නේ නෑ. මගේ අපිට කියන පරිස්සමක්
Bodies of the prison police officers who were killed in Negombo prison clash were brought to their residences today.
Body of prison police officer Darshana Taranga was brought to his house at Ambagakanda Delmala in Bulat Sinhala today. 36-year-old prison officer Attukorala is the father of a 7-month daughter. He is the youngest of a family of 4 siblings. The body of prison officer BNN Taranga was brought to his residence at Gurubavila area at Pahala Pandeniya in Balangoda. He was earlier a Navy officer and later joined service in the prison department. He was also a father of 1 child. Body of prison police guard Vasanta Pushpakumara was brought to his house at Kirivanteniya in Rambukkana today. He has served in the army for 12 years. He is a father of 2 daughters aged 15 and 11 respectively. The funeral will take place tomorrow. Body of a senior jailer in the Valikada prison, SHG Chandravansa, is now lying at the private funeral parlour in Talahena. Final rites are scheduled to be held at the Talahena General Cemetery tomorrow evening. The body of police intelligence officer Dilan Shri Abewardhana, who was killed in the Negombo incident, is now lying at his residence at Wattegedra area in Kurunegala. He was a father of 2 children aged 7 years and 9 months respectively. He has served as a Navy officer for 12 years and joined the prison police department 5 years ago. Final rites will be held at Goluamulla Cemetery in Mahagama. The remains of Nilaksha Ruwantilakasiri, who was also a victim of Negombo prison incident, was brought to his residence at Pihibia Gollava in Rambava. 42-year-old Tilakasiri has served in the Navy for 12 years and later joined the prison department. He has served in the prisons in Anganukula Palasa, Mahara and Batiklo. Body of prison intelligence officer R.P. Roshan Sanjeeva was also brought to his residence at Muguru Kampala in Mirigama. 45-year-old Roshan Sanjeeva is a father of 2 children. After completing 12 years service in the Sri Lanka Air Force, he has joined the service in Valikada prison as a prison intelligence officer.
The Negombo police say the prison complex in Negombo is now completely peaceful. Certain inmates were transferred to other prisons today. Duties of police and prison officials were hampered due to the congestion occurred within the arrival of relatives of inmates since a morning today. As such, the Negombo police informed them to vacate the premises in the afternoon. Accordingly, a special police team took action to evacuate the crowd. Prison authorities took steps to transfer the inmates to other prisons. Meanwhile, Secretary to the Ministry of Justice Ayesha Jinadasa visited the prison premises to take stock of the prison situation in the incident occurred at the Negombo prison.
The United Nations Resident Coordinator Marc-Andre Franch has expressed his profound sorrow over the violent incident at the Negombo prison. In a statement, the United Nations says the incident highlights the urgent need for investment and reforms in Sri Lanka's prison system. The United Nations has also welcomed the government's decision to appoint an independent committee to investigate the incident. Expressing its condolences to the families affected, the United Nations also wished those injured a speedy recovery. The resident coordinator notes that prison officers carry out a difficult duty on behalf of the government and the public and says their loss is deeply felt. The statement further says that international human rights standards provide an important framework to address the long-standing challenges faced by prison systems in Sri Lanka and around the world, including overcrowding, outdated practices and poor conditions. The United Nations expresses hope that the findings of the independent committee will lead to sustainable and long-term improvements in the country's prison system. The United Nations also says it stands ready to continue providing the necessary technical assistance to strengthen prison security and improve the welfare of prison officers in Sri Lanka.
Moving on, the Ministry of Justice and National Integration has decided to construct a new prison in Mahamodara, Galle. Minister Harshana Nanayakkara issued the extraordinary gazette notification in this regard yesterday. The gazette notification has been issued under powers vested with the minister in the second clause of the Prisons Ordinance Act. Accordingly, the prison will be established in the name Mahamodara, and its authority area will cover the entire country.
President Anurukumara Disanayake says special attention will be paid by the budget of next year to solve the drinking water problem of the people, which is a long-standing issue, during a discussion held at the Presidential Secretariat today. Discussions were held regarding the grant requirements for next year, and progress was also reviewed of projects being implemented under grants from the budget allocated this year to the Ministry of Housing, Construction and Water Supply. Separate discussions were also held regarding the grant requirements and plans for next year, along with reviewing the progress of projects implemented under the grants from the 2026 budget of all departments and institutions coming under the purview of ministries including National Water Supply and Drainage Board, National Community Water Supply Department, National Housing Development Authority, Relocation Division of the Ministry of Construction and Water Supply and other ministries. President Anurukumara Disanayake says a joint program is required focusing family units in order to alleviate poverty. The President made this observation during the pre-budget discussion for next year and to review the progress of projects being implemented under grants from the budget allocated this year regarding the Ministry of Rural Development, Social Security and Community Empowerment. The meeting was held yesterday at the President's office. The President mentioned that the objective of the government is to build a strong social security network based on a proper measuring methodology to decipher whether every family unit is being empowered properly who are benefited under social welfare methodologies. The President pointed out that a scientific program has to be implemented for poverty alleviation, targeting family units properly identified and consolidating scattered grants in various institutions. The President also enlightened the ministry officials pertaining to the provision of proposed loans and aids by the ministry for identified projects in order to encourage entrepreneurs with export potential. Colombo Fort Magistrate Court ordered to summon the Attorney General's stance on the legal actions to be taken against former President Ranil Wickremesinghe and former President Secretary Saman Ekanayake in connection with the charge of misappropriating public funds on the 30th of September.
Now, this order was given when the relevant case was summoned before the Colombo Fort Magistrate Pasan Amarasena today. Senior lawyer of the Attorney General's Department, Samadari Piyasena, informed the court that the relevant investigations on this case have already been completed and exert directed to the Attorney General. She requested the court to grant a date to inform the AG's stance to court. Accordingly, the court ordered to resummon the case on the 30th of September and informed the Attorney General's decision on that day. Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe and his secretary have been charged with spending 16.6 million rupees of public funds for a private tour in taking his wife's convocation. Former private secretary to the former president Gotabaya Rajapaksa Sugishwara Bandara's bail application was rejected today by the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court. Colombo Fort Magistrate Pasan Amarasena states that the request will be rejected since significant reasons have not been submitted to grant bail to the suspect. The magistrate also ordered the suspect to be further remanded until the 22nd of this month. The suspect was earlier remanded under the charge of drawing two salaries simultaneously under the president's expenditure heads. Colombo Fort Magistrate today ordered the Criminal Investigation Department to inform the court before the 5th of August on the progress of investigations conducted with regard to the fraudulently remitting of a sum of $2.5 million of public funds belonging to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. This order was given when the relevant case was summoned before the Fort Magistrate Pasan Amarasena today. The CID stated that the hard disks of discovered computer data in connection with the investigations have been directed to the Colombo University for further examination. The CID officials have also informed that the government analyst report concerned has not yet been received. Colombo High Court Judge Buddhika Sri Ragala today sentenced capital punishment to 8 respondents who were proven guilty for murders. The respondents have been charged with killing of Kusumawati and Uday Kumara at the Tharawat area in Colombo on the 21st of September in 1997 or a recent date, and inflicting injuries on several others. The Attorney General has filed a case against the suspects. More local news on the other side. Stay tuned.
Live Rugby.
Prima Kutumi. Pantamari.
Earn the highest interest rate of 5.6% for US dollar fixed deposits from Ceylon Bank.
Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
In some alarming news, the number of dengue patients being reported has reached 63,835.
According to the National Dengue Control Unit, the number of deaths has also risen to 42. During this month, 8,451 dengue patients have been reported until now. The highest number of patients are reported from the Western Province. A special dengue control program is being implemented focusing Colombo, Gampaha and Kalutara districts jointly by the Sri Lanka Army and government institutions. Meanwhile, 142 MOH divisions have been identified as high-risk dengue zones during the past 26 weeks. 7,617 residences and locations in the Western Province were inspected yesterday, and mosquito larvae has been found from 2,057 locations. Out of them, 268 locations have been identified with dengue mosquito larvae. Acting Director of the National Dengue Control Unit, Dr. Kapila Kannangara, said that according to the reports, they were still receiving mosquito breeding sites and locations with larvae were being found even in premises that had been inspected once or twice before. He mentioned that legal action had been taken against over 700 premises the previous day. He explained that those individuals would have to go to court, face the resulting issues and pay the fines imposed on them. Therefore, he kindly requested everyone to clean their premises, not just to avoid going to court but to contribute towards minimizing the spread of dengue. According to the National Dengue Control Unit, the Ministry of Health requests the public to inform the hotline number 0117 966 366 of the National Emergency Operations Centre established around mosquito breeding locations to control the spread of dengue. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Navy is providing its active contribution to the series of dengue control programs being implemented jointly by the Clean Sri Lanka Secretariat, National Dengue Control Unit and the Environment Conservation Division of Sri Lanka Police under the theme Colombo Free of Dengue. The Navy has been able to identify 1,231 dengue mosquito breeding locations during inspections conducted so far. Another dengue control program was held at Palavatta area, organized by the Battaramulla MOH office. Inspection of reports of patients and fogging were conducted in these areas where the presence of dengue patients have been reported. Bandaragama MOH office has initiated another dengue control program at Bandaragama. Steps were taken to initiate legal action against 16 locations maintained as dengue mosquito breeding spots.
මේ පාර දිගටම ලෙඩ්ඩු ඉන්නවා. පැහැදිලි නේද? දැක්ක නේද කීටෝ ඉව දැක්කනේ? ඔව්. ඔව්. සමාදින්න බෑ දෙකපාරක් උසාවි ගියාට පස්සේ නේද? වා උසාවි දානවා 9 වෙනිදා උදේ 8:00 වෙද්දී පාන්දර අධික මහේස්ත්‍රාත් අධිකරණයට එනවා හොඳේ. A two-day special dengue control program commenced on the 6th of this month, focusing in Kandy City jointly by the Kandy Municipal Council, Police and the Lions Club.
Minister Bimal Ratnayake says that the grace period provided to fix seat belts in vehicles plying on expressways has been extended to the 19th of September. The minister made this observation during the Parliament debate held today regarding the motor vehicle amendment orders. Minister Bimal Ratnayake stated that seat belts had been made mandatory for everyone travelling in both in the front and rear seats on expressways. He mentioned that through that day's gazette, they had given time until the 19th for vehicles that did not have seat belts installed by the manufacturer to get them fixed. He further noted that they had extended the gazette by another 3 months until September 19th. The minister requested everyone using the expressway, pointing out that they had provided a grace period of 1 year as it should be, since it could not be done all at once. He urged them not to wait until the final day, September 18th, to install seat belts, but to do that beforehand, or else they would have to face the consequences of related accidents. Minister Ratnaik explained that trains and buses constituted public transport. He remarked that ideally, when the country had sufficient funds, urban public transport should be made free so that cars could be left at home, noting that while that was the ultimate goal, it could not be implemented immediately. He stated that if the fare for a normal bus was 100 rupees, it would be 200 for a standard AC bus. The minister clarified that for a bus travelling from Colombo to Jaffna or Jaffna to Anuradhapura, the amount increase for a normal bus would not be applied to luxury category because people, as they well knew, preferred and attempted travel in those luxury buses. Therefore, he mentioned that this would provide relief to the passengers using those luxury bus services. The minister observed that the long-distance buses were the most prone to reckless and dangerous driving. He added that instances of speeding and fatal accidents were mostly associated with long-distance buses because the further they travelled, the more financial loss the bus incurred, stating that the old formula was incorrect, and he mentioned that a new formula, which was almost accurate, had been created. Consequently, they had categorized buses into two types: normal buses and luxury buses. He stated that he did not know for what reason such a law had been made. Minister Ratnaik added that they had continuously issued orders to impose fines if an offence was committed. He remarked that in disciplinary inquiries, those individuals rarely got penalised because the inquiries were often conducted by friends and associates. The minister explained that a person could not be suspended and sent home for a fraud of 250 rupees, and they would get reinstated after a year anyway. Therefore, he concluded that the CTB had finally made a decision and issued an order regarding a disciplinary process for ticket misconduct. He stated that moving forward, if someone committed ticket fraud or embezzlement, they would not be suspended, but a fine would be imposed.
Rugby,
live rugby.
Prima Kotumi, Pantamai.
Earn the highest interest rate of 5.6% for US dollar fixed deposits from Ceylon Bank.
Love rugby,
live rugby.
Prima Kotumi, Pantamai.
Now in your foreign news, 3 commercial oil tankers sailing through the Strait of Hormuz have come under attack, prompting the United States to launch a series of major airstrikes against Iran.
The vessels are owned by Qatar and Saudi Arabia. The United States has carried out major airstrikes in Iran's Hormozgan province and the port city of Mashhad. The U.S. Central Command says more than 80 targets were successfully struck, including fast attack craft belonging to Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. In response, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps says it has launched retaliatory attacks against U.S. military bases in Bahrain and Kuwait. The United States and its allies have directly accused Iran of being behind the attacks on the oil tankers. Moving on to sports news, Argentina and Switzerland qualified for the quarter-final round of the FIFA World Cup football tournament yesterday by defeating Egypt and Colombia, respectively.
79th minute, Cristiano Romero scored a goal for Argentina. Then, in another 4 minutes, Lionel Messi recorded a second goal for Argentina. Close to the end of the game, Enzo Fernandez scored the third goal for Argentina with a win of 3-2, qualifying for the quarterfinals. This is the 12th occasion Argentina entered the quarterfinals of the Football World Cup tournament.
It's been epic in Atlanta. Heartbreaking for Egypt. They were outstanding. It's finished. Argentina.
Another Super 6 round game was played between Switzerland and Colombia in Canada. Both teams could not score goals during the scheduled time, and then the winner was decided through penalties. Thereby, Switzerland converted 4 penalties while Colombia 3 penalties only. Switzerland qualified for the quarter-final round after 72 years this year. France, Morocco, Spain, Belgium, Norway, England, Switzerland and Argentina have qualified for quarter-finals so far. Well, that was a look at your news here at Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I'm Siobhan Pereira together with Sharifa Tahir. Wish you a pleasant evening and a great week ahead. Take care.
Good night.